Hey, everybody. Week one of college football is in the books. Everything has been said and done. The scores are final. First game we're going to get into right now reviewing is this Colorado versus TCU game. This was a game that was very offensive sided, really no defense on either side being played, high scoring game. Colorado pulled it out 45-42. I think from a breakdown standpoint of this game, I gotta say, I think TCU, for the most, giving all credit to Colorado as you can, TCU I think wasn't prepared for what Colorado brought to the table. They did not know what they were getting into, and I think from the beginning of that game, watching it, you saw Colorado kind of jump out to a lead early, and it kind of looked like they were kind of shell shocked as far as TCU's standpoint. It was a monster game from the aspect of Shedeur throwing for over 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then from Colorado's receiving aspect of it, though, you got 4 players that had over 100 yards receiving in that game. And and that's including the their one of their running backs, Dylan Edwards, who had a monster game coming out of the backfield. And of course, you got Travis Hunter on that team also playing both sides of the ball. I think really it just came down to not knowing what to expect, but at the same time, Colorado knew what their game plan was heading to this game. They knew what they wanted to do, and they were able to do what they wanted to do from the start. And really kind of jumped on them early. You know, TCU battled back, kind of got it tied, kept it close at halftime. And then after that, you just saw the offensive explosion kind of happen after that. What was y'all's takes on it as far as that game?
You go ahead, Sean.
All right, so my biggest take, the thing I realized was going on in this game early on in that first drive, when I said to myself, Colorado's got an offensive line. Mm-hmm. Shedeur really sat back there with a clean pocket the majority of the game, okay? I was actually expecting him to be running for his life, right? Now, a lot of this has to do with my thought process of this is TCU. This is the team that was playing in the national championship game against Georgia last season. They should be bringing back something, all right? They should be bringing something back. I never saw it, so I don't want to sit up here and say that Colorado won this game because TCU is not good. I think they're a decent team. But at the end of the day, I don't care if they were playing Appalachian State. The numbers that Colorado's offense was able to put up was PlayStation numbers. Bama does that against Mercer. You know what I mean? You don't do that against TCU. I got to give a ton of credit to Deion Sanders, how he was able to take a team that only had one starter from last year on the field this year. How in the world do you get them to congeal? How do you get get them to mesh as good as they did? Not just the kids, the coaches, everything. I think it was amazing, absolutely amazing. They got a lot of stuff to go off of that was good. They definitely have to tighten up some things on the defensive end as best as they can. I personally thought TCU was going to run away when they took their first lead. But the fact that Colorado came back and continued to score with them and pulled it off, man, to me, it was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in college football. What you think, Drew?
I'm right there with you. I thought it was one of the most incredible games on both aspects of TCU and Colorado. Now, on TCU's aspect, my biggest shock with them was their lack of preparation going into that first quarter. They truly just seems like, I don't know if it was because of they didn't really pay attention to the game plan, they weren't executing the game plan purposely, or they were just shell-shocked by getting hit in the mouth by Colorado. I'm not really sure which one happened, but I think overall on the field, you saw TCU on their heels for majority of the first half. Yeah, they came back in and got some punches in, got some touchdowns in, but in an offensive shootout like this game was, I was completely shocked. Now, going into the second half, that's when this game really turned into a next level. And I think what you saw was TCU had already let Colorado's confidence through the roof. I think Colorado's confidence coming into this game was 8 out of 10. But I think after that first half, it was definitely 15 out of 10. And they felt like we are already better than you. in the forms of TCU. Now, TCU last year got to the national championship. I wasn't a fan of them even making the college football playoffs. So that was where my stance on them last year. But I still thought going into this year, TCU would be prepared for Colorado's first game of the year. It's at home. It's in Texas. There's no reason you should have this team like that come in there and do what they did offensively to you as a defending national runner-up. It's incredible what Deion was able to put together with this team. I didn't have any expectations of Colorado getting anything past 6 wins. Truly didn't have any expectations of that. My mind completely changed after Saturday. What I really saw in that Colorado team was a group of people, like you said, Sean, players and coaches, to me, that are fully listening and being a sponge to whatever Deion's coaching them to be. That's what it has to be, because what we really find in teams that don't have success is you got half the team wanting to go one direction, the other half going in the other direction. Colorado is a one-focused team, one-mindset team, and their goal is to dominate week in and week out. So I'm extremely looking forward to them for the rest of the season. I still have to be a negative Nancy in the aspects of it's just one game. But Shedeur Sanders blew my mind at quarterback play. That's my favorite position on a football team is quarterback play. He was efficient at the quarterback in game 1. Travis Hunter blew my mind, and what he really showed us is that he is by far the number 1 recruit coming out of that class he came into. So I understand what this Colorado team has on talent. There's still people that shocked me. I didn't think they was going to prepare like that. But I think going forward for them, their challenge is going to be teams are going to start having film on you. Can you still have that shock factor of coming out and not knowing what people are going to do? I think that's going to be something Colorado's going to be challenged with. But based on what I saw this weekend, they're ready for that challenge.
Yeah. Hey, look, I got one question for y'all, both of y'all. It's a prediction. At the end of the year, over under 1.5 number of players off Colorado rosters in New York for the Heisman Trophy presentation.
It's definitely going to be. I go over. I go over.
I'm going over.
I'm going over.
Yeah, now, and it could be 3.
I think 3's a stretch. I think the 2 unstoppable players on that team are going to be Travis Hunter. I don't care who you match him up against, wide receiver or corner. You're not going to really find too much competition in that Pac-12 conference that can really go up at him week in and week out if he can stay healthy throughout playing both sides. Now, Shedeur is going to be somebody on, can you continue to play at this high level? But I still think he can. I think he can. I think I've seen enough between his couple of films in Jackson State and his first Colorado game that shows, yes, you do have high QB accuracy. I give him 2.
Yeah, and that I'm going with 1. I don't think both of them will make it, but it'll be crazy if they did. But I think what did happen with Shedeur was, I think he answered a lot of questions on could his game translate from where he was playing at Jackson State over into big, quote unquote, big time football at these universities. And he showed extreme quarterback play against TCU. He looked comfortable. He felt like, I mean, you look at some of the throws, and he honestly should have had more than he had, because Travis Hunter dropped I think it was two possible touchdowns that went he dropped them in the breadbasket, and they just ended up being incompletion. The guys dropped them. It could have been worse than it was. And so to see him, all right, so you're going right now and you're in a bad, I will say it's a bad defensive conference. How many stats can you pad up throughout this season? Now, it's all going to take also what's going to happen when you start hitting against these other big time teams. You got Oregon, you got to go to Oregon in 3 weeks right now, which now I think the odds are predicting them to go 3-0 and going undefeated into that Oregon game. And then you got USC at home right after that. If there's a possibility for you to kind of stretch this thing out, you got UCLA down the line. Oregon State proved that they got a good offense down the line. How far can this Colorado team really go, and how many more shocking upsets can you make? Because one thing you're going to have to do is, this is a scoring conference now. Oregon put up, I think it was like 80-something points. Yeah. So it's like, you can't get in the shootout with a lot of these teams. USC is going to put a lot of points on the board whenever you play them. And one thing what Colorado showed to me was, and I don't know why TCU didn't keep going back to it, they looked horrible in run defense. Their
yeah.
run defense looked bad. They were, I mean, I'm not talking about, they just got around the edges or anything like that. They were going straight at their defensive line and getting what they wanted. It was one goal line stand, I think, close to the end of the game where it just looked like they only had 3 guys down and 4 linebackers, and they just let the guy walk in from 5 yards out. And it's like, you can't hope to get far right now playing that style. And of course, teams are going to hone in on it, like Drew, like you were saying. You got film on the board now. What's going to carry week in and week out that you can change some stuff up so that way you can keep having this high level of offensive success. And I think that's going to be a big question to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for this Nebraska game just to see if what I saw last week was a flash in the pan. I got to see it again.
Yeah.
I think it was exciting. I think offensively, I think TCU wasn't too bad. Like you said, Van, the run game was something I could have sworn going in, even in the second quarter. I'm like, just run the ball every single play.
Yeah.
You're going to shorten the game so you don't really get them too much. You give your defense time to rest because Colorado's torching them. And it was just, to me, understanding of we really couldn't stick with the things that we wanted to do. But I think they had a totally different game plan. I thought, personally, TCU thought Colorado was going to whimper down. Yeah. Early in that game, there might have chattered how hard TCU came for Colorado. It looked like if we knocked their heads off first quarter, they're going to quit. Colorado didn't do that. So I think just showing that resilientness is going to be something that Colorado is going to piggyback off of going into next week. Sean, I don't think Nebraska's got a chance.
No.
I don't think Nebraska's got a chance. I can't even say name any starters from Nebraska. I didn't watch the game last week, but this is going to be something that's going to be truly fascinating through the rest of the season. And I got my seatbelt strapped in and ready to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I know at the beginning of the season, that Nebraska game had a Colorado as a 20-point underdog, and already they're a touchdown favorite now. That's already flipped after 1 week. And I think it has a lot to say with how Nebraska played, but also at the same time how Colorado played. So it's really going to be interesting to see how they go.
Yeah. And look, and one more thing to say before we get off Colorado, I believe I heard that the going price for a ticket to that game in Colorado, in Boulder, is over $300. Right, like
it's going to be a packed house.
The highest ticket for Colorado, Sean, is higher than the NFL game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
This is recorded on Wednesday afternoon, so the tomorrow night's football game between the Chiefs and the Lions doesn't have higher selling tickets than Colorado and Nebraska. Mind blowing.
Right.
Plus for college football right now, a huge plus.
That's right, man.